Today we are going to talk about why was AMP created. So the current state of web was not ready for the mobile world. What I mean by that is the way currently people are and the developer are building the pages, the whole infrastructure of the web is not uh, ready for the mobile world. For example, in 2020, the mobile usage is going to increase uh, beyond 60%. So that's the kind of web that people like Google are thinking. So the current state of websites and the way people have been developing websites are not ready for the mobile world, and there was no way we could improve upon the current technology. So there was need for us, or for the people who are progressive enough to think that they require change, were looking for an alternative solution. So that's how the uh, need for the AMP came about. The second reason why AMP was created is because developers are just adding unnecessary CSS and JavaScript to their websites, to their pages and the applications. For example, a popular example would be theme forest. A lot of themes have been adding unnecessary amount of JavaScript and libraries such as Font Awesome, uh, Tooltip, and other Bootstrap CSS. They have been adding unnecessary amount of JavaScript and CSS, which is causing huge amount of load on the end user's website. So an ideal website would have around 20-30 plugins and a theme. At least two of them would be adding the same library. So that's just 500 KB more CSS on a web page, which is causing a lot of money from a global perspective. If you see, there is an infrastructure that goes behind loading that 500 KB. It costs money, it costs server resource, and it also hurts environment. So there are a lot of those kind of things as well. Now let's understand a little bit about HTML5 and why it was great. HTML5, when it was created in 2014, it was very good, but for desktop, and the mobile penetration had just begun. HTML5 is like really good canvas for developers to build something or an applications upon, but it's just too open. It's like a uh, wild forest. You can just do anything with it. AMP is a standardized way of publishing. What I mean by that is, in the AMP, there are certain restrictions, there are certain standards that we have to follow. For example, if you are an Android developer or a iOS or the Swift developer, you cannot just do anything out of the box. You can use your creativity to build something, but then you would have to go according to those standards. So if you are adding an API call, if you are doing insertion, if you are rendering something, you have to follow either Android or iOS guidelines. There are no specific guidelines built for HTML5. So that's AMP is like a standardized way of building pages. Think of it as an application that is built, and we are building web on top of it. So that's another thing. Now to understand more, we'll have to go into the history of HTML5. So let's have a look at the history of markup languages. Um, if you see, GML and HTML were the beginning when it all started. Then there was XML, and then you can see HTML was created from this, and this branch HTML5 was there, and it was created from HTML4. HTML4 had a fork called XHTML. XHTML's now this was HTML5 was just created in 2014. Before that, HTML4, the standard HTML, was very popular. From there was this new hypertext markup language born, which was XHTML, and it was very popular at that time. And people thought this is going to change the web, but it didn't. It turned out to be a big mistake, and we had to go back to HTML5. The one thing common was between XHTML and AMP is that both of them share certain standards. There were strict standards in XHTML and there are strict standards in AMP as well. So that was a mistake. So they stopped the whole project, the W3C, uh, which manages the whole markup languages. So then came the HTML5, and it's going good. But again, it's not ready. Why? You'll learn this in the next step. Here, the average web page size has increased on a tremendous level. The last 2011 data, an average page size was 929 KB. It has increased to around 3 MB because internet penetration has also happened, but broadband has also improved with that. So we don't notice this, but since internet speed has went up, people have been, like I've said, developers have been a little um, careless about the way they do things. So from 929 KB, so almost 1 MB, less than 1 MB to more than 3 MB in just little than 5 years. And if this is the web, uh, you know is built on, I don't think this is ready. Anybody can say that this is not ready for the mobile. And each and every website that you see, it is built from a desktop point of view, and responsive is just an alternative version. Whereas in AMP, mobile is the primary focus of the whole user experience. If we see the history of the this average website page size, in 2011 it was around less than 1 MB. Then it grew, it went to the 3 MB. And what are you thinking? I mean, what do you think? Do you think it is going to grow even more? I think so. So who knows this better than Google, right? They are crawling the whole web. They have each and every data. They know why this is increasing. And just think about the kind of pressure it puts on the Google server. That is tremendous amount of pressure. So they know this better than anybody else. So that's why they thought that this would be a best idea. If we see, there is a prediction I found on web that by 2019, which is what, 3 months down the line. So by 2019, an average page size would be 4 MB. So it's going to grow again from 3 MB to 4 MB and beyond. Like, just think about a scenario of 2025. How is web going to look in 2025? Is it going to be like what, 10 MB? That is more than the size of, um, I don't know, the whole website in AMP. So it's roughly increasing 16% over the year, and that's why Google felt that there was a huge need for a language which was actually built for a mobile world. So that's why they created the AMP. It's been around 2 years for the AMP, and it's growing from a tremendous amount of speed. If you see here, there have been a lot of data over here, and That's the reason why AMP was built, and I'll share a lot of other datas about what's the current scenario of AMP in another video. But I think this is it for now. I hope you learned why it was created, and if you have any questions or doubts or suggestions, please share them in the comments or reply me on Twitter or Facebook. Thank you so much for watching.